Welcome to Best in Fest. I'm Leslie Lepage, the director of the La Femme International Film Festival, and this is a podcast for people who are interested in advancing their career in television and film and learning the little dirty secrets of Hollywood. And today, I'm so happy to have my guest, Magi Avila. She is wonderful. And not only is she wonderful, she actually started off as an actress, which she still does, in films such as Dog Eat Dog with Nicolas Cage, First Kill with Bruce Willis. She's been seen on the Twilight Saga, A New Moon, Training Day with Bill Paxton. But she has turned her career and become a hyphenate as a producer, director, actress, and has worked the festival circuit with this amazing documentary called Untie Me. Now, that was the original name. I know it's been renamed, but I want to welcome everyone to meet Magi, our lovely, wonderful guest today. Hi.
Hi, Leslie. So good to be talking with you. Thank you so much. It's great to see you. Thank you for such a, lovely interview. Now my hands are a little sweaty.
That's okay. We're in podcast land. So, it's all about our voices. But let's start at the beginning. Okay. So you're this successful actress, not necessarily in California, although you've now broached over to California, but that's not where you started. So you started as this Latin fabulous actress, moved over and crossed over into Hollywood, started working really successfully. And so you've got this grounding with this talent. What on earth inspired you to jump over to the other side of the camera and become a producer director?
Well, the directorial bug bit me long time ago, because somehow when you're reading so many scripts and you're auditioning, you can't help it but already starting painting the images of whatever you're reading in your mind. You watch so many films and the influence of all of these amazing directors, and so many YouTubes about how to film this and how to film that and how to film your own auditions. It's been always, it was sort of a natural transition. It's something that I've been wanting to do, but I have been reading scripts and I have been wanting to film my own projects, to pump up my own career as an actress. But then when I met this man, the opportunity of filming his trip came about. And when I saw the beautiful potential, I had to sit down with him and explain to him, your life is so inspiring. The whole world has to know about it. And, my own career disappeared, my own family. I haven't been having a boyfriend for, oh my goodness, like 4 years or 5 already. I've been very focused.
So you've got to tell me, being this very successful actress, what got you started directing? I mean, where did you get this inspiration from?
It was sort of a natural transition from auditioning and acting in many films and reading these amazing scripts that I wanted to direct. It was in the back of my head, and had started looking into it in courses and seminars and so on, and then the opportunity presented, and I had to grab it. It was just such a beautiful story.
Well, wait. Now tell us about that opportunity, because this wasn't just a normal, hey, I'm going to do a documentary on, whatever, save the planet, save the starfish, save the whale. This was very specific to an experience you had.
Yes, it was very, very specific. Oh God, how do I start? I can start from far away, but let me start for the moment I met Michael. I was doing a photo shoot with a friend of a friend, and this gentleman said, hey, I need to stop for 10 minutes at this place. Is it okay with you? And I'll introduce you to this man. It's very inspiring. And I said, okay, sure. And when I met Michael, I saw a man that looked like Mr. Clean. This beautiful energy. He's bold and he has this big
right.
blue eyes, right? But he had this beautiful energy. And we hit it off immediately. And he said that he was going to go on a cruise ship, on a trip to Europe. And it was his annual trip that he does. And he always tries to make a trip of a lifetime. And he told me that a lot of people, have always, oh, and I said, are you filming this? I mean, you have to take a lot of pictures. And at the moment, I wasn't even thinking about that at all. I said, oh my goodness, I hope they take a lot of pictures, and I can wait to see the results of that. And so I suggested you should do a book or something about your life, man, or it's really, really inspiring. Your life is really inspiring. And then he said, a lot of people have asked me if I wanted to do a film of my life. And so I started, I left. The next day, I woke up thinking about it. And I said to him, hey, we have to have dinner. I have a business proposition for you. And so I pitched the whole thing without being as prepared, because, to really, really, really convince somebody to finance your movie, you have to be super prepared. And in this case, oh my God. In this case, I just asked him really key questions to what is it that you're planning to do with the rest of your life? What's the plan for the next 5 years? What's the plan for the next 10 years? And he said, I am having a really successful practice right now, and I am really, really happy. I am just traveling and enjoying life. And then so I explained to him, your life could cause an amazing impact on so many people if you show it to people, in the way to show it would be a film or something similar. And he said, what do you have in mind? And I said, well, it could be a film or a documentary, but we would have to see. I mean, your trip is almost there. And I literally hanged myself from his luggages.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, he was crazy, because he travels everywhere with two nurses. And so the way it worked out, we were so lucky, because the way it worked out, he had already rented, set up a part of the trip, not just partially, with 2 extra rooms for his 2 nurses. So then I was able to bring a lady with me to help me with the camera and equipment and stuff. And so he put 2 nurses, 2 of his nurses in one room, and the other 2 ladies in the other stateroom, because he was a crew. And so that's how it worked out. But again, I had to come up with numbers, oh my goodness, out of my ears from left to right within 10 days. And that was so crazy, because there was no sleeping. And then during the filming, that's how I convinced him. I mean, that's how it worked out, because he really, really saw the vision.
So you've got to tell me and tell those that are listening in, he's inspiring, this Michael that the documentary is all about, but he's inspiring for a specific reason. He is in a wheelchair. So what was his backstory that got you hooked into making this documentary that you've just, told us about?
His mindset. Michael was 22 and he fell off 3 stories, broke his neck. And despite becoming from a middle to social class family, he still became a very successful person. And so that is why the documentary to me is not about a successful person in a wheelchair only. It's about the mindset. It's about why he became successful. So it shows what is it that people have to do to overcome any obstacle. If Michael could do it, I mean, anyone can do it. And Michael's circumstances is just absolutely tremendous. I mean, he became a quadriplegic, and despite of that, he's so happy and he helps a lot of people. So I wanted to explore his mind, and he kind of liked that. He said, "Okay, join us. Let's do this movie together."
Well, the real interest. I mean, I've seen the documentary. We programmed it at the film festival, but what's really, really interesting is that, through this horrific experience that would have maybe crippled others, he utilized this as his, I don't want to say calling card, but his kick in the butt to not allow that to defeat his mental capacity and his will to strive forward. And that's really, I think, the undercurrent of the documentary. Now, it was originally called Untie Me, but you've now renamed it. So let's talk about that process and what happened after you started going into the film festival circuit. So let's talk about that process.
About how we needed to and why we needed to change the title.
No. The progression of the title. But let's start with, running this documentary through the film festival circuit. How was that experience for you?
It was extremely enriching. It was really beautiful, super challenging, because this was for me the experience of the producer, just submitting so many documents, changing the formats and the sizes and everything about the documentary, and watching it over and over, making sure that it's on uploaded in the site, because of why we have been virtual in most of the film festivals. And I had so much to learn, and I learned so much by not only the film festival panelists but other filmmakers, and the experiences, and what the conversation is about, and how everybody, it's an amazing hero. I mean, to actually put a film together, hats off for anybody that actually accomplishes their first film, because it is so much involved, and so much patience and passion is required. So the film festivals, everybody has been super supportive and really beautiful, very encouraging. I am really grateful to you guys that let us in, that invited us, and it's just really, 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 really beautiful.
Well, it was our honor. It was a really wonderful documentary. But what was like the main item that you learned from being a producer submitting this in the festival circuit? What was your main takeaway?
That is a great question. I was hoping that you would ask that, because when you find something that is bigger than yourself, when you find something that really, really moves you forward, that really inspires you and fires you up, there is nothing that is going to stop you. No matter if one of your big 12 terabytes hard drives gets damaged and you lose all of the files, it doesn't matter if you don't sleep for only but 2 to 4 hours a week. It doesn't matter how many documents you have to read, how many legalities you have to learn, how many things that are that have never been anything, have never had anything to do with you, or you have no knowledge about. When you find a subject, when you find a film, when you find something that is really, really beautiful, and again, that is bigger than you, um, that is gonna pull you forward, and it's gonna make you happy, because you're making a lot of people happy. You're helping people's lives, and somehow, and that is my biggest takeoff. It's like the greatest gift. I'm sorry, that this gets me a little emotional, but it's been the greatest gift from this film for me, because I didn't know I could do many things. I mean, I cannot sleep. I used to be known as a sleeper.
Right, right,
Oh
right.
God, yes. Um, yes, it's just the passion that really, really
Well,
moves you beyond your own limits. And when you find something like that, that is bigger than yourself, that is really important, that really, really matters, and
right.
that really enhances your principles, your values, and it's really, meaningful. Um, that is what I take out
Right.
of this film, out of this experience. Yes.
That's really great. That's inspiring in itself. Um, so, how did you go about selecting the film festivals you wanted to submit this in? Did you research it? Because this was your first, producerial venture into getting this content into the festival circuit. So, how did you go about that? What did you learn that you would do differently that you can advise other filmmakers saying, okay, listen, if you're a first time filmmaker, don't do this or do this.
Yes. So read several times their instructions. Make sure that it really applies to you. In my case, I went for most of the film festivals that were
Hmm.
supporting women first, and then that were open to diversity. Most of them are right now, which I found really beautiful. Everybody has been really, really supportive, and they have these questionnaires where they ask if you what's your sexual preference, what's your age range, and so many things that were not in other film festivals before. And so I would advise to really budget and study what other filmmakers have been doing, and really budget, and plan before applying. And sometimes, and to not rush, to not rush, and until you have your film ready, until you feel confident that it's up to a level where it's going to be appreciated, that your work will be seen in a way. Because after all, if we rush, you are damaging the message, you are damaging what the work of all of us involved in the film. So um, yes, it's just really planning on what is it that is the message of your film, and what is it that who you are, who do you represent? Do you represent the Hispanic community, like in my case, for example? And so I applied to all of the Hispanic film festivals. But yes, it's just make sure that you do a lot of planning and a lot of research, and even before you're starting your film, plan out your marketing and plan out the film festivals you're going to be. The film festivals is a huge marketing tool, and if you really know how to use it, it's going to be really, really, really good, because you're going to be plugging in, you're going to be connecting with people that are in alignment with your mindset, with your message, with your intention, with your mission.
That's great advice. So, for those listening in, essentially, she's saying that you should target your film festivals. So, look at the type of films that they are programming and really decide whether that niche in that particular film festival matches your film. Because if not, then you're wasting your marketing dollars, on that film festival circuit, which is what you don't want to do. Is that a good recap?
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate
Okay,
it.
good.
I can rumble.
Okay, good. Okay, so now you are in a film festival. Did you do anything differently? Did you have a marketing strategy that you utilized? Did you utilize social media, and if so, how, to get, people eyeballs on it, or a strategy on getting articles written about you or the subject of your documentary?
When I was, for example, in La Femme, which again, I thank you guys so much for, we're honored to have been with you guys. So yes, we did try to do as much. We did as much as possible we could with our social media pages, and let our people know, the people that will support the film. And so that was the strategy mainly. We didn't get a publicist before. Until now, we are barely starting to get a publicist, because you know how we got distribution now, thanks to you and all of these people.
Well, we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that. So, okay, so you utilized your social media to kind of help create a buzz on the documentary. Okay, and you're in La Femme, and we loved having you. And from that film festival, or our film festival, that segued you into moving into a distribution contract, right? So, who did you end up getting a distribution with? And talk about that experience, negotiation, their demands on, you know, um, deliverables, etc.
That has been quite another experience as a producer, for sure. We are so super lucky to and fortunate to have been acquired by Gravitas Ventures. And the process was 3 months prior to yeah, exactly 3 months prior to the release, which is going to be on June 8th. They wanted us
June
to have,
8th. All right. So it's releasing on June 8th,
it's
which is
releasing on
great.
June 8th.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, we're super, super happy for them. I
Yeah.
couldn't tell you how grateful I am. It's fantastic. It's a lot of people.
Right, exactly. And for those that aren't familiar, Gravitas is a distribution company based in Los Angeles that does a lot of work with documentaries. So it's a good thing that you are represented with them. So okay, so you reached out to Gravitas, they viewed it, they liked it, and then you went into 3 months of negotiation. So can you talk about that experience? First time experience for you going through that.
Yes, that has been really, really fun, really interesting, because um, it's, for example, they ask for the film to have files that are textless. If your film has text in it, you have to make sure that you deliver the film without text, and the text separately. And in my film, I have an interviewee who speaks Spanish, and also we have the names of the cities, and then we have the names of the interviewees, and so on. So it took many hours. It took a couple of weeks to get things done, and then we had an issue with one of our terabyte. Sorry, our 12 terabytes. It got damaged or bumped or something, and the files were corrupted that were not there, and it was terrible because I thought I had everything ready. They say, "Can you have everything ready by March the 8th?" And I say, "Absolutely, yes." And so 2 weeks before, I am uploading all of the documents, the contracts, release forms of hundreds of people that were in the parties or passing by, interviewees, and so many of them. So the best thing to do, it's from the beginning, and I always tell everybody this, and that helped me from my days as a manager in other companies when I was, just you know beginning here in Los Angeles, working in different other industries. The more organized you are from the beginning, the better, because trust me, you're never going to have enough time to put everything together, because there is always a little detail. Recently, for example, they said, "Do you have the subtitles?" And I said, I uploaded them 3 months ago. Would you like me to send them again? Or things that suddenly makes you feel like you have a hole in your chest all the way down to your stomach. Because, for example, when we were uploading the files, it was supposed to take between 5 to 7 days to upload, because the files are huge, right? And so the internet connection kept being interrupted. And so I was looking at the hard drive and my computer all night long, like if it was a little just born baby. It literally felt like I was giving birth to a baby. I mean, it still feels like. Uh, because it kept on being interrupted. And so I had to start it again. And after 3 or 4 hours, and I have top internet connection, but things happen. You never know. Things happen. So I was able to get the green light, which is very rare because they receive thousands of films and so on, right? So I was able to get the green light to put everything on a hard drive and send it. And so, certified and everything. And then it took a couple of days for them to respond to, yes, they got it. And I was like, I was super worried. So, yeah, so the process of the doing the deliverables, I mean, for a first time filmmaker, it can be daunting if you're not as prepared. And even when you feel that you are super organized and super prepared and have it all ready, it's really way too much to hold in your hand, in your head, all together. So I always carried around to-do lists, and I triple check that I did checked off all the items. And again, because people are so busy with so many films and so many teams coordinating bits and pieces, the different parts of a project, it takes a lot, it takes a while. So you have to be super patient as well, and again, and organized, and know that you are delivering your very best, that the files, that the sound, that everything is in place. And that really took so many hours. It took me, just for example, just to put the film together, and it took me about 7 editors. And then just to do the deliverables, it took me 3 editors. And there was one night that well, a couple of nights, that because of the files that were damaged or corrupted, um, I have copies of the movie and the files in 4 places. Okay, but the project, yes, but the project that needed a bit of, needed to take, we needed to take the text out. That is the one that got damaged, and so I had to grab from my other hard drives the bits and pieces. But because I had them organized in a way that, okay, we film from this day to this day in this city, so each folder was named after its city and after their dates and everything. But it was so many of them, so many, almost 12 terabytes of footage, that it took us so long. So there was a couple of nights, yes, that one of my editors, he was here, we were close to 14, 15 hours, and then his girlfriend is like, "What are you doing? Video call me, I miss you." And you just lose track of time, because you're having a baby is someone's property. I mean, it's my partner's investment, and I was really, really, really scared when that happened. But and I know, probably the film gods out there are probably laughing about me because I even got a gray hair. I usually don't get gray hair, but it was really.
But this film gave you a great idea. For those listening in, the deliverables, what she's talking about that is demanded by distribution once you get a distribution deal, is sound and the separated film in the project file and all the contracts and release forms. And so all of that has to be given to your distribution company along with the poster art and the trailer and everything else so that they can have access to all of that once that distribution contract is signed. And so, yes, it can be kind of daunting, especially when files got corrupted for, whatever reason, and then you're trying to piece it all together under a deadline. It can, I'm sure, just be crazy.
Yes, especially when you thought that everything was ready to go, and then suddenly, hey, guess what? It has a broken leg. What? And so, but yes, the deliverables are something that if you have never done it, it can be daunting. Now I look back and I am looking at it, I'm still,
So how would you do that differently? How would you organize it differently or do it differently now having gone through the experience?
I think that what I would do differently this time is just get people that is recommended of somebody that comes from really high standards and is known, and is not going to recommend just people that I'm sorry, I mean that because people with their best intentions, sometimes they just name things differently because of their own understanding, and so everybody has to know the exact same name of files, not change the names of the files, and just be there 100% of the time. I was there 100% of the time, but there was only one time that I left the big file, in the hands of a friend for like 3-4 hours while it was rendering, and that might have been that the files were moved around in a different way because we were cloning. So this time I would just do it myself, or with my team that now I have acquired, that has my absolute trust. But it's still, quality control is huge, and again, not because people has ill intentions or anything like that. Sometimes people, they just name things differently and position them in a different place, and again, the film gods are probably laughing about me, and so that is one thing that I would do differently. And also just all do everything at the same time. I did that. We did upload everything as soon as possible, but be even more assertive when it comes to legalities. For example, go after people more aggressively, and can you film that contract? Can you please send me that release form? Can you details like those? Because people might think that there is one more week, that and still, no, just get it done as soon as possible, and just get everything done as soon as possible and as organized as possible. And what else would I do differently? Just continue on growing with my team, with the people that has proven themselves to never let you down, to stay there and say, okay, I'm gonna see you in 2 hours. I will be there punctually in 2 hours, and we're gonna get the job done until we finish. And I am really, really lucky to have that people around me this time. And as we, from the beginning of the film up until now, a lot of people comes and goes in your first films, and it's just like in any other career, in any other business. People have different visions, people have different missions, and people have different passions, and sometimes they're not going to stay with you, and sometimes they're going to not be as in love with your baby like you, and they're going to go into another project because it's another trip, or because it's and so that's how it is. And so I will just continue and be more patient, be patient, be super patient, and continue on building this. Yes.
So now,
Yeah.
Who came up with the name change? Was that a distribution choice? Did they, after acquiring it, say, listen, Untie Me is really not selling the film, or we don't want to utilize that title to sell the film? Who came up with that?
Yes, because it's part precisely of the distribution. What we learned with distribution with Gravitas is that the general audience, they don't go past
Mm-hmm.
the titles that start with an A. And because there's so many titles, they when they scroll down or scroll around finding the movie that they want to watch, they don't pass it. Sometimes they don't even
Right.
get to B or Z. So our movie, starting with an U, had no chance to be seen. And so they suggested to change the title, and we said, we'll do whatever it takes. So let's change it. And we went back and forth with amazing titles. But then I said to Michael, my partner and the
Mm-hmm.
subject of my documentary, okay, we have to decide now because I need to change all of the social media pages. I need to change all of the graphic design, all of the website, the artwork, so many things. So you have to tell me now what it is because please just tell me now. And, oh, you have 2 days or something like that. And he said he had that title, and then he came back to that title, and I say, okay, that's it.
Gravitas came in and wanted you to alter the title to a title that was higher in the alphabet so that people would see it better. Instead of Untie Me, which was your original title, which falls in the U's, which might be way farther down in the alphabet, and people may not get that when choosing on the SVOD platforms.
Yeah, Michael and I came up with the title. He wanted Because I Can't, and then we said, but remember that we need something with an A. And so he said, let's do Altitude, not Attitude.
Ah,
And yeah, and that's we liked it, and we just went for it and started changing things around as soon as possible because that takes a lot of time too, the social media pages,
mm-hmm,
all the
mm-hmm.
graphics and everything. So, and the trailer. So yes, that's how it happened.
And Gravitas, your distribution company, loved that idea or endorsed that new title.
Immediately, yes, they did like it immediately.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So, what bit of advice from the standpoint of new filmmakers out there or crossover from actor to filmmaker can you give to those listening in? What bit of advice have you learned from this whole experience?
Believe in yourself. Even when your friends tell you move on to the next project, look after yourself. Believe in your project, believe in yourself, believe in your mission, believe in your vision, and most importantly, watch the masters. Watch the greatest masters of all the time. Watch those YouTube videos with so many amazing people teaching so many wonderful things. Study, 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 analyze, compare. And faster than you expect, the world is going to turn even more beautiful because everywhere you go, you're going to see people um, reacting more. So, more than the way actors we look at things and people, this time you're going to see everybody as if everybody was in a Kurosawa film. You're going to understand so many things, and things are going to pop up. You're going to see the buildings, the cars passing by. Is just so beautiful. So watch the masters, watch as much as you can, and also believe in yourself. Keep going, and if you can make things better, do it. Because there was a time where people told me you have to stop editing. You're never gonna be able to finish a piece of art. uh, uh, that was a hard one. And just believe in yourself. When just keep on believing in yourself, push forward. Even when you don't believe in yourself, still act as if you are believing in yourself.
Great advice. Great advice. And my last question is what is a dirty little secret of Hollywood that you wish somebody had told you and didn't, like that you have now discovered? So what's a dirty little secret of Hollywood?
Ay, ay, ay. Let me see. Wow. But I don't know if that is dirty or how dirty.
However dirty you'd like.
um Wow, that's a great question. Let me think about it. I think that people is going to put a foot in front of you to see how bad you really want it, how strong you are, how much you believe in it or not. And but nobody's ever gonna let you fall. They're gonna hold your hand and tell you stop the crying, you know, clear the blood from your knees, but keep going. And I think that that is a beautiful thing. I think that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And maybe it's not Hollywood itself. Maybe it's just our head. It's in my head. But I think that it's maybe, I don't know.
That's wonderful. No, 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 that's wonderful. Listen, I would like to thank you so much for coming on and sharing your experience through the making of this documentary that people can see and start seeing on the SVOD platforms coming in June, being released by Gravitas, which is amazing. So, for all those that wanted to submit their film to the La Femme International Film Festival this year, you can do so on Film Freeway. Search us out and submit, or you can go to lafemme.org. Don't forget, when you are listening to the podcast, to like us, and you can also see the video component of this podcast on the La Femme YouTube channel. So you can tap in and look at this podcast there as well. Don't forget to rate us, like us on iTunes and all the other podcast platforms. I want to say thank you so much, and thank you to Magi Avila. What's your socials on the film so people can follow it, look it, like it, and watch it?
It's altitude, not attitude.com and altitude, not attitude, and Instagram, Facebook, and on Twitter, it's altitude document one.
Documentary? Okay.
It was supposed to be
Excellent.
but I didn't know any better. But it's document one, yes.
Yes, good documentary. Okay, excellent. So you guys can find this, watch it. It's a truly inspiring documentary that I think is going to get a lot of play in the next few months, starting June, you said 6th. And thank you again, Maggie. And thank you all to listening in to Best in Fest.